Hi, I'm Coach Tina with Rowdy Ryder Academy here in Denver, Colorado. So this is going to be a two-part series. What I'm teaching you is 6 of the basic movement patterns. In this video, we're going to talk about the first 3, the squat, the hinge, and push. So these movement patterns are really important to develop, and they can take some time to develop the neuromuscular control and the motor control to activate muscles to be able to perform more complicated movements and lifts further down in the strength training program. So the first one, the squat. Obviously, there's a lot of different variations to do a squat. The most basic form is the air squat. And it's basically something we do every day when we get up and down off the toilet. So next, I'm going to be reviewing squat mechanics. For the air squat, what I want you to do is position your feet a little bit wider than hip width with your toes slightly turned out. And from here, I want you to think about pushing your butt back as if you were going to sit down on a chair on the toilet. So I'm going to push hips back, start to sit down, my knees will bend, keeping chest up. I'm pretending like I'm sitting down. And then once I kind of reach the depth that I'm comfortable with, then I want to try to push my knees apart and squeeze my butt as I come to stand and repeat. So chest upright, sitting down, squeeze butt, push knees out to stand. So really you can go as low as you want. You don't have to go super low, or let's say to 90 degrees just yet. Important piece is that you're keeping your chest nice and tall and trying to really push those hips back. So from the side, don't forget about breathing. In, out. What do you do with your hands? A lot of different variations, but me, I like to do hands out, come to stand, hands at my side. So that's your basic air squat. To make this more challenging, we can add what's called a goblet squat, holding a dumbbell in front, barbells, dumbbells at your side, a lot of different options. But for now, I just want you to develop the patterns for the air squat. All right, pattern number 2, hinge. What are we talking about hinge? We're talking about hinging from your hips. And if you ride mountain bikes, I assume you do, we're always hinged over at the hips to create this centered position on our mountain bike. So from the waist, or I can think about, okay, my hip bones, I'm hinging forward. So this is our basic deadlift or good morning. So here I've got a PVC pipe. At home, if you have a PVC broomstick, ski pole, hiking pole, whatever, something that you can grab onto, first thing I want you to do is put it on your back. So pretend this is a barbell. And we're just going to do what's called a good morning. So from the side position, I want you to think about first bracing your core. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, so I'm thinking about pulling my rib cage down, my belly button towards my back. And now from here, with my chest up, I'm going to hinge from my hips. Notice my knees aren't really bending. I bend them slightly so they're not locked out. But from here, I'm just pushing my hips back, keeping my back fairly flat, eyes up, chest up, as much as my hamstrings will allow me today. And then I'm going to try to squeeze my butt and stand. So this is just a basic good morning that we're going to start with for our hinge pattern. So once I get used to this hinging, I'll do some from the front. Then we can start more complicated movements like the deadlift. So with the deadlift, I'd have the barbell in front. And from here, my grip is going to be a little more narrow. And then I'm sliding it down to my knees. Once it's past my knees, I can bend and then reverse the movement. But that's going to come later. So first, I want you to grab whatever kind of stick you have and work on the hip hinge with the good morning. Okay, movement pattern number 3 for this video is push. So using these muscles of our chest, really important for shoulder stability, for upper body strength. which is super important to be able to control your bike through all of the rocks and roots and gnarly terrain, hitting jumps and drops on your bike. So for the push, we're just going to talk about the basic push-up movement. So whether you can do a full push-up on toes or not, there's a lot of different ways to modify these. We can do them against a wall, against a countertop, or some sort of lower surface. But I just want to show you today the full push-up and push-up on knees. So position-wise, when we think about how do we push open a door, are we like this? Not typically, right? That's not a great push-up. So when we push open a door, a strong and safe position for our shoulder that's more functional is right about here. So if I think about popping my hands on my side, just like when we're on our mountain bikes, elbows come up about 45 degrees. This is our position. It should be very similar to your position on your handlebars when you're riding your mountain bike. So from here, hands are on the floor, fingers spread on my toes. I'm going to lower my chest while keeping my hips off the floor, pressing back up. If that's too difficult, you can be on your toes and do the same thing. Again, tightening up my abs, not letting my hips touch the floor. I'm also thinking about almost screwing my hands into the floor and trying not to lift up your thumbs or anything else. So pressing into the floor and lowering back down. So that is our basic push-up movement. So try that out. Kind of figure out a way that works for you that you can get about 10 or so reps, and then we will be progressing that.